Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for July 7, 2023. The first the fight, now the lawsuit edition. And we begin with that story from Reuters. As first, Elon Musk said he wanted to fight Mark Zuckerberg, which Zuckerberg agreed to before, of course, Elon Musk chickened out. Well, now Twitter has threatened to sue Meta over Meta's new messaging or new app, Threads. Rather amazingly enough, they have Twitter sent a letter directly to Mark Zuckerberg threatening to sue because of alleged former Twitter employees who had and contributed to access to Twitter's trade secrets and other confidential information. So Elon Musk, once again, sowing what he reaped. Next up from the Financial Times, Edward Luce, in a very provocative op-ed piece, asks, is Ivy League morally bankrupt? And many people are asking this now in the wake of the Supreme Court's tossing out of affirmative action, because, of course, the majority of Ivy League undergraduates are legacies. And so that's going to make it difficult for underprivileged or non-whites to get into those schools. And unless the Ivy League changes their legacy enrollment program, it's going to be pretty difficult. So 43%, for instance, of Harvard's intakes comes from athletics, legacy, dean's list, children of faculty and staff. So I think the Ivy League, and as well as a lot of other schools, are going to have to revisit that if they're serious about diversity. Next up from the Wall Street Journal, Risk and Compliance Journal, Dylan Tokar reporting that the former top London police officer will now head the Serious Fraud Office. I can only say this is a welcome relief after the disaster of Lisa Osofsky. First of all, never have an American run the British Anti-Corruption Office. I hope they've learned that lesson. But now we have the top cop, Nick Eafgrave, former assistant commissioner, will begin his 5-year term in late September. He is the first non-lawyer director of the SFO, and it certainly marks a shift for the SFO, whose prior directors had been public prosecutors. So we can only hope he can restore the good name to the once sterling Serious Fraud Office. And finally, Lazard banker was fired this week for sexual harassment at a weekend party. Keep your hands to yourself, guys. Otherwise, you'll suffer the same fate. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.